In 2022, my GFR was 28. I was in stage 4 of CRF. Today, my GFR is 61. I'm back in stage 2. This is how I did it. Catherine here. Today I want to share with you the story of one of my subscribers. He was able to go from stage 4 of CRF to stage 2 thanks to just one molecule. This was possible only because he found out exactly what was causing his decline in GFR. Because improving GFR means treating what's causing the damage. For more than 10 years now, I've been helping people overcome one of the most underestimated and dangerous conditions of our times. I've been working with people suffering from CRF for almost 10 years now, and I've personally met people who were able to improve. But today's success story is somehow special, and not just for the huge improvement this man was able to achieve. I mean, I didn't believe at first that someone in stage 4 was able to get back to stage 2. But then he literally sent me a picture of his tests via email, and I had to change my mind. This is why today I'm featuring his story here on YouTube. And by the way, what happened to him really surprised me. His nephrologist found out an incredible way to improve his GFR, and well, we will see more about that in a moment. And there is also a huge lesson to learn from this man. Let's see why. This is a message Arrigo, one of my followers on Facebook, left on my page. Hi Catherine, I'm a 51-year-old CKD patient. I want to share with everyone here my story because I believe it can help others. In 2022, my GFR was 28. I was in stage 4. Today, my GFR is 61. I'm back in stage 2. I had to do only one thing to achieve that, and it was finding out what was causing my damage. But it wasn't easy. Prior to being referred to a nephrologist, I had talked with my primary care physician about my worsening GFR. But there certainly wasn't any sense of urgency about my numbers. No effort was made to find out what was causing them to decline. By June 2021, however, that changed. My creatinine levels had risen to 1.97 and my GFR had dropped to 30. My protein level was also too high. My first nephrologist confirmed that I had stage 3B kidney disease. I was told it is not likely to be reversible. He stated also that the big D machine will definitely be figuring into my future. So that was essentially my wake-up call. This began my research, and this is how I stumbled across Catherine's channel. I watched many of her videos and I even took notes. However, in May of 2022, I met with my new nephrologist and my last lab showed a huge creatinine increase, up to 2.26 and a GFR of 28. I was in stage 4, so clearly something had to be done. One thing Catherine said kept echoing in my mind. Find what's the cause of your problem. My first nephrologist was never able to tell me why my GFR was going down. I have hypertension, but that was under control with atenolol. Little did I know that taking atenolol is a known cause of nephrotic syndrome. Okay, I will stop his story now because this is something we need to take a look at more in depth. This is a key point, in my opinion, of how he was able to reverse the decline of GFR at the point that he is in stage 2 now. Finding what's causing the problem. Question: do you know exactly what is causing your problem? Let's take a look at some of the most common causes of damage. As you can see, the first two things are diabetes and hypertension. These are the two most common causes of people ending up on RRT or the big D machine in the US. Combined, they account for up to 70% of all the cases. If you have any of these, never let any of them go untreated. As Arrigo's story teaches us, finding and stopping the cause of the damage is key to improve our GFR. What we need to keep in mind is that the decline of GFR can be stopped and in some cases reversed just by controlling these factors. And while there is plenty of things your nephrologist can give you to keep this in check, remember that natural lifestyle changes are always best. Lose weight in case you need to exercise regularly, paying more attention to our bodies. This can really go a long way controlling any metabolic condition. Now, the third leading cause of CRF is, as you can see from this chart, is something called glomerular disease. This is a condition that damages the filtering units, the glomeruli. This can even be idiopathic, meaning it happens without any cause that can be found. Now, please also notice that CRF can also be caused by overuse of NSAIDs, some antibiotics, and some heartburn drugs. As you can see from this pie chart, there are a lot of cases caused by just 2 factors. And then there's about 1/3 of people that have CRF for a series of different reasons. Some of them know why and some don't, like it happened to Arrigo. In fact, as you can see, there are even some miscellaneous and unknown causes here. Some people are even misdiagnosed. So my point here is that if you know what's causing your problem with reasonable certainty, take care of that. If your cause is uncertain, however, do everything in your power to make sure you find it. You need to know what's causing your problem because that's the only way to have a chance of improving. Let's now hear more from Arrigo. As I was saying, he is one of my subscribers and he also follows me on Facebook. And when someone of you guys post a message like what we have read before, I always try to get in contact. Sometimes there are life lessons worth knowing, and even if not everyone answers my messages, Arrigo eventually did. Now, what he found out about what was causing his problem, what was making his GFR decline so fast, was unusual. Let's see why. Finding out that the cause of my problem, nephrotic syndrome, was reversible changed everything for me. I had to know more. I started booking appointments with my nephrologist and doing all the tests that he could think of. This took 3 months, but eventually, and this may sound incredible, he told me that some of the medicines I was taking could have been the problem. Clearly, something had to be done. From that moment, it was a roller coaster of emotions for me and for my family. I met with my nephrologist and I simply told him that I decided to stop taking the atenolol for my hypertension and Lipitor for my cholesterol, since he said that those 2 were causing my problem. I also kept watching videos on this issue and found out that someone with high protein in urine is supposed to eat in a certain way. In that short period of time, I also decided that I needed to largely eliminate animal protein from my diet since I had high protein in my test. So after just 70 days of not eating animal protein and not taking atenolol and Lipitor, my lab test showed that my creatinine levels had dropped to 1.75 and my GFR rose to 39. My nephrologist said that a 27% improvement in my GFR in those 70 days is something truly remarkable for an irreversible condition. He told me that I should maintain a total daily targeted goal of 56 to 62 grams of total protein each day. But he also insisted that I start taking atenolol and Lipitor again because my cholesterol and my pressure were not good. He said that my heart was in danger, but he told me that he also wanted to try one more thing. Okay, thank you very much, Arrigo. But now I have to stop him because there's really a lot to unpack here. First of all, congratulations on your improvement. Now, I don't recommend anyone stopping taking anything without the explicit consent of your primary care physician. Don't do that. By the way, Arrigo also told me that he is taking both atenolol and Lipitor again now, and that his GFR is still improving. Actually, he says that it is much higher now. We will see what his nephrologist found out that made that possible. Before that, Arrigo mentioned that he is now following what I refer to as a plant-based way of eating to reduce his protein intake. Question: is avoiding animal-based protein really going to help? It didn't really surprise me to know how much a way of eating low in protein helped Arrigo. There is a ton of studies in literature supporting the reduction of protein intake as a way to slow down the progression of CRF. And I've personally talked to many people who were able to achieve just that. In one of my last videos, I've shared with you the success story of another subscriber named Chris. He went from stage 4 to stage 3. He was able, thanks to some improvements in the way he eats, to get his GFR back to 43 from 25. Catherine, thank you very much for all you do to help people with kidney disease. I've seen that you tell people to share their stories here, so here's mine. I went from a GFR of 25 to a GFR of 43. In a more recent video, I've talked about another one of my subscribers. His name is John. He is 76-year-old and he has been dealing with diabetes and CRF for 27 years. In his life, he achieved something really remarkable. He was able to remain in stage 3 with a completely stable GFR for 27 years. All thanks to a LPD, a low protein eating plan that his nephrology set up for him 27 years ago. Now, by showing you these success stories, I don't want you to think that what these people achieved was easy. Following a diet to manage a condition as serious as CRF is not easy, especially when T2D is also involved. But I also think that this way of eating is a must for someone who wants to lower their creatinine levels. Now, if you want to know more about how to set up a low protein way of eating, my video up here is for you. Now, time to see the most incredible part of Arrigo's story. Eventually, my nephrologist told me that he believed he knew why atenolol and Lipitor were giving me trouble. He asked if I was sleeping well and if I had frequent cramps. I said yes, and that those disappeared when I stopped atenolol and Lipitor. So I asked again if I could stop them, but my nephrologist talked me out of it. He told me they can even cause nephrotic syndrome, but that I should still take them. He gave me some injections that were supposed to stop these problems. He told me to try them for 3 months and to report. And then after 3 months, I've seen a huge improvement in GFR. My GFR went back to 61. My nephrologist was surprised and he told me this was one of the biggest successes of his career, and that even if my levels were going to decrease in the future, he was still going to be proud. I eventually found out that what he was giving me were CoQ10 injections. So question, what is CoQ10 and can it really cause a damage to the glomeruli? Coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10 is an antioxidant that your body produces naturally. Now, there are factors, however, that can hinder this production. All the cells in your body use CoQ10 for growth and maintenance. Having low levels of CoQ10 can cause several symptoms, including damage to several organs. Most common signs include muscle weakness, cramps, pain to muscles and joints, and in more serious cases, even brain and renal damage. Nephrotic syndrome is how this kind of damage is called. This can even cause CRF, like in Arrigo's case. We know that levels of CoQ10 in your body decrease as you age. CoQ10 levels have also been found to be lower in people who take beta blocker for hypertension or more often statins for their cholesterol. Today, CoQ10 is not generally given to those prescribed statins, but I believe in the near future this will become common practice because given the way statins act in the body, it is to be expected to have a deficiency in CoQ10. And there are cases in literature documenting the possibility of nephrotic syndrome, a cause of CRF, being caused by CoQ10 deficiency. This is mostly reversible. CoQ10 is found in meat, fish, and nuts. The amount of CoQ10 found in these dietary sources, however, isn't enough to significantly increase CoQ10 levels in your body. There are supplements that can be used, however. Question: what other deficiencies should you be aware of? Now guys, it's worth mentioning that there are many medicines that deplete essential nutrients in the body. Metformin, for example, that is widely used in people with T2D, is known to deplete CoQ10, folate, B6, B12. Lisinopril and other ACE inhibitors very commonly used in CRF can deplete zinc, magnesium, and calcium. Carvedilol and other beta blockers can deplete CoQ10 and melatonin. Many more medicines do have similar unwanted effects. You should see a list on screen right now. So my advice here is to make sure your levels are right for any of the essential nutrients linked to anything you may be taking. Deficiencies in any essential nutrient may cause a long and sometimes painful list of issues. A faster decline in GFR is linked to many deficiencies, so be careful and make sure to double check if anything you may be taking is linked to vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Ask your nephrologist for tests. A question I asked Arrigo: what would you recommend to my other subscribers that are battling with CRF? I want to tell them that finding a way of avoiding the big D machine isn't easy, but it's a lot better than the alternative. Jumping into a low-protein diet certainly isn't easy, and I'm very glad I found a nephrologist that was able to find a way to prevent those medicines from damaging me. Throughout this journey, I keep reminding myself of the alternative, and for me, that just isn't an option. There is no choice but to persevere. I found that you've got to be your own advocate and do your own research. I would highly recommend watching Catherine's videos and reading other medical papers that are available online. And if they are willing, have a heart-to-heart discussion with your primary care physician and your nephrologist about what you found. If they don't, find better ones. But draw your own conclusions, act on those choices, and stick with it. Thank you very much, Arrigo, for sharing your story with us. And guys, if you want to know more about CoQ10, the molecule that helped him achieve this incredible result, please watch my video up here about it. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless.